Hello, everyone. Welcome to SCV Means Business, the podcast where we meet the leaders of great companies who are making a difference in their community. I'm your host, Holly Schroeder, and today my guest is Tony Cuccio, CEO of Star Nails. Tony, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
Good to see you. So we'll start with the basics, as usual. Tell me about Star Nails. Tell me how you got started and kind of the origin story there.
Well, it's kind of a great story. I say only in America. Started when I was 12 years old. I met my wife. She was sitting next to me in 7th grade. And we went out through high school, got married. We've been together since we're 12, so I'm 67 tomorrow. So that would make us together 55 years. In 1981, I was working at Downstate Medical Center as a neonatal respiratory therapist. And I wasn't making that much money. My wife was spending more than I was making. So I had to do something about that. And I came to California in 1980, and I loved California. I got on a plane with my 17-year-old brother and didn't have a place to live. So we landed on Venice Beach. We took an apartment. And in 1981, I had $250 worth of nail polish and cosmetics. And I started selling on Venice Beach. I was the first vendor in 1981 to sell on the beach. I paid $50 for the space. I wish I would have bought the lot. In 1989, we moved up to Valencia. We live in the Valley. I knew Valencia was going to be a great booming community. I saw all the growth. I met Craig Peters. He sold me a building. And I also met Dale. And Dale started telling me about how real estate was going to go crazy from Intertext. So I know Dale for 30 years. A lot of these people have been very successful. And this community, I've helped 30 of my employees buy houses here. So Valencia has been a great area for us.
That's great. So, well, how many employees do you have now? You started yourself on the beach. Now, how many do you have?
We have around 210 employees here in Valencia.
Fantastic. And so here now, obviously, so you're still doing nail polish. You're doing more than that. And just tell me a little bit about how that business works.
Well, we started in the beginning when nails first started, artificial nails in 1980. We were really in the beginning of an industry. And I saw a great niche. And I think I used to wake up the first 2 years thinking government was going to outlaw artificial nails, which thank God they never have. And we started selling acrylic and gels and nail products. In 1985, I was the first company in the beauty business to import from China. I went over to Beijing and traveled around China in 1985, 35 years ago. And I remember the first item was a glass dapping dish we were buying from Corning. And I was paying Corning glass, and I was paying 30 cents. And in China, it was 3 cents. So I made a lot of money in the 80s, 90s, and still today, but importing from China.
So really started that relationship that we have. Obviously, so many companies today are importing and have a relationship in Asia. So how have you been in the past year? Have there been disruptions? A lot of companies are dealing with supply chain disruptions. How's Star Nails holding up?
You know, the first year during the pandemic, year and a half, we were fine. I was hearing all this, but we had about $15 million of extra inventory. Our biggest account is Sally Beauty Supply. They do about $30 million a year, and they come and they check on our inventory, and I always have a lot of inventory. So we skated through the first year, year and a half. In the last 2 months, it's becoming a nightmare. I'll just give you one, for instance, for all the business owners here. We had a UV light. We were paying $10 for 20 years, and we took the 25% tariff. There's nothing we can do. Freight costs went from for a 45-foot container of $4,000 to $16,000. We ate that. And now yesterday, the vendor came back and raised the price from $10 to $15. We have to now lands my cost at $20. It doubles my cost. We now have to adjust and we have to raise prices. We do not have a choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're seeing that across all industries, aren't we? One of the things that I know we've worked with you at the EDC on some of your issues over the past couple of years has been making relationships with local companies. And one of them I know has been in freight and other elements, but you've always kind of been an advocate for doing as much locally as you can, obviously, even if you're importing from other countries. Tell me some of that story. Tell our listeners some of that story.
Well, you guys at EDC have been instrumental with me meeting a couple of vendors. I mean, let's put it this way. Freight is ridiculous now. Anything I can do in Santa Clarita, we switched over our printing. We switched over our 3PL. We switched over a plastic manufacturer here. So I drive around. I look for real estate. I have 2 buildings. I'd like to acquire another one. But while I'm driving around, I always write companies down. And I go down to my buyers and I say, hey, what do these people do? Hey, what do these people do? I mean, it's great to support the community, but it's also great to cut down on your freight.
Yeah. That's been saving you a lot?
Well, it's great connections because when somebody's down the block, they give you preferential pricing and you get to know the owners and you get to form a relationship. We're all in the same community. So thanks to your association, I want to meet more. I think there should be more sharing of information between your members.
You know, it's such an interesting time with people wanting to know each other because we've been doing so much virtually for a year and a half or so, and it's yet in the end business still comes down to relationships, and somehow proximity and meeting people, I think it still matters. What do you think? What's your take on all that?
Well, everybody has something to offer. Okay, the plastic manufacturer told me why he's able to compete against China and what niche he has in large containers. So he taught me something. I've been to 110 countries, so I'm sure that I have a lot to teach people. So I believe in networking. You can always learn from somebody. I met the owner of Santa Clarita Bank, and I wanted to buy part of the bank, and he had already sold it. So it's kind of interesting how you find things out just having communication with these people.
Yeah, I like that about finding where somebody has a niche, and then when you need that, you know a little bit more to help you take advantage and make that an advantage for your business.
Plus, you can help each other. For instance, Tony from Accurate Freight, I want to help him on becoming more of a 3PL with Amazon because there's so many possibilities out there. So networking has always been great, but communicating with local neighbors in this community is even better.
So one of the things that we've been working with you on and that we're super excited about is that you're establishing a foreign trade zone. Which is is a place, ability to reduce your duties and fees on importing and exporting. So what have you had to do to create that zone? Tell me a little bit about that process and what it's going to mean to your company.
Well, first of all, Sue brought us this opportunity. Sue's phenomenal. She's one of the best salespeople because she doesn't sell, she educates. And she, when she comes in here, I'm just so happy to see her because she's a plethora of information. And she told me about this foreign trade zone, and I always say the same thing. Why didn't I know about this before? My favorite philosopher is not Plato, it's Plato. And his favorite saying is, I know one thing for sure, I know nothing. And I think I live my life by that. And I did not know about this foreign trade zone. And we export probably 40% of our business. So at the end of the day of setting up this foreign trade zone, not only do we not pay the 25% when it reaches Long Beach, we're able to charge back everything that goes out of the country. And we're going to go back a couple of years, and it's going to be a lot of money at stake. So it does 2 things for you. It saves you the 25% or delays it from paying it at the port, which is great for your cash flow. And then it's going to minimize that tariff if you can prove that you shipped it out of the country. So it's going to be a lot of income for us, savings on the money putting up front and getting money back at the end of the year. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, these incentives can be really meaningful for companies, and it's sort of like what you said about the plastics guy. It's like if you've got if you fit, they're phenomenal, to your business and can save save hundreds of thousands of dollars to companies, and it's really really dramatic.
But without Stu, we never would have known this. I've been in business 40 years. I've been up here 31. And I kick myself for not knowing about your association before.
Well, we're glad you're here today and talking to us and telling us more about what's going on with you. And so another one I know that we've worked with you on has been on the labor force. You said you got 200 plus employees, and we know that you're hiring some of those through Pleasant View Industries, which is a great partner here in the Santa Clarita Valley that we love to work with. And they work with developmentally disabled adults, and you've had you've got a number of people from Pleasant View working with you, correct?
I have 10 right now. I watch them. They're incredible. It's taught me something. Somebody with disabilities are happy to have a job, unlike other people or other employees that work slow because they take their job for granted. So I would say the production from the Pleasant View people is 50% greater than the production. I don't think that they're disabled. The only thing they're disabled is they don't take their job for granted.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and in today's job market, I mean, right now with the situation we're in, it's been hard to find folks. And did you have problems before the pandemic finding employees? What was your employment situation then, and what is it? What is it today?
No, it's been changing. I mean, we had Homeland Security come and take 110 people 8 years ago over the border, and then we had to verify that they were citizens. That was a plethora of problems with lawsuits. People who were illegal never sued you. But if you're a legal resident and you know what your rights are, whether they're right or wrong, you have ridiculous lawsuits. The problem that we did have during COVID is people didn't want to come back to work because if you were getting $15 an hour with the federal supplement of $300 and $400 from the state, they were making more money by staying home. One of the reasons I love your organization is being in the state of California, whether you're Democratic or Republican, we won't talk politics, the deck is really stacked against business owners. I've had friends back east who tell me I'm crazy to have a business in California with all the regulations and all the taxes and all the problems. What your organization has done is let me level the playing field a little. We're taking advantage of a lot of these programs that you have to offer, so I get some of it back.
Yeah, yeah. It's there's a lot of advantages in California, and there's a lot of challenges. It's not for the meek at heart, and you clearly are not meek at heart, Tony.
I still don't want to live anywhere else. I've been to over 100 countries, and I don't want to move even to Nevada. We love California, so hopefully we'll just do what we have to do to stay here.
Well, and you're creating a lot of great opportunities for your employees. So tell me about where Star Nails fits into the overall industry and what's happening in, I guess, would you call it the cosmetics or the beauty industry? What are they seeing, over the past, we couldn't go to salons. So did that help your business, hurt your business? What's been the trends of that sector?
Fate was good to me, and I guess I had good karma because our biggest account is Sally, which is retail. And during COVID, DIY, do yourself. I mean, my wife is a great example. She would go to the nail salon every 2 weeks, and she hadn't gone now for a year and a half. And I kind of laughed at her during COVID when everything was locked down. She was doing her own nails and coloring her own hair, which really made me laugh because she pays $600 for a haircut in Beverly Hills, and here she was on the kitchen table. So we got kind of lucky with DIY. Sally's business went through the roof. Of course, our salon division got hurt. We own 5 different beauty companies. On the whole, the beauty business got hurt on the professional end, but it skyrocketed through the retail end because people had to do things they weren't used to.
Mm-hmm. And do you think people are going to keep with the DIY, or now that they've had to do the work for themselves for over a year, they're like, no, I'm going back to the professional salons who I like that professional touch?
That's a great question, and I wish I had the answer because I could adjust my inventory properly. We have no idea. All I can tell you is that COVID has changed everything. I thought it was going to be a 3-month thing. Every business owner out there has to readjust. It's never going to come back the same. Now, how long women don't go back to the salon is the question. I'm a firm believer that women love to look good and women are vain. And that's why I entered the beauty business 40 years ago. So to answer your question, I think it's going to take longer than we anticipated, but I think eventually it will come back to going to the salon. I mean, look, let's look at pedicures. You know, only 10% of women used to get pedicures. Now you go to a Vietnamese salon in the valley here, and you see 10 pedicure chairs and 1 table to do artificial nails. So pedicures have become part of hygiene for women. It's not only vanity. So I think they will come back eventually.
Interesting. So okay, now I got to ask, what are the growing segments? I mean, where are you looking at new trends or new activities?
Well, pedicures are going to continue to skyrocket because, again, it's not only fashionable, it's hygiene. Women have to have good-looking feet. I mean, the first thing I look at when I meet a woman is their feet. And it's ridiculous, but I guess being in the beauty business, I look at their feet because their feet aren't clean and they're not well, pedicured or manicured. I don't want to see anything else. So feet are very, very important. Dipping, artificial acrylic dipping now over the natural nail is huge. The big trend.
Oh, that's the powder stuff.
That's the powder stuff. It used to be 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, there was a lot of soak-off gel became the rage. And women realized that it was a pain to take off because you have to soak it and it can ruin your natural nail. Well, the Vietnamese really invented, and we invented dipping because it's acrylic without benzoyl peroxide, which can go over your natural nail. So basically what it does is coat your nail and makes them not chip. So you can grow your natural nails out and have permanent color. So I would say 99% of the salons in this valley and in California are offering acrylic dipping now. And that's probably the healthiest trend that I see happening.
That's fantastic. Well, I guess I'll go have to check that out and see what is going with you. Well, Tony, I want to thank you for joining me today. Really fantastic hearing about what you've been doing, and also just it's been a pleasure working with you here from the Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation, and another great company here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Well, thank you very much. The last thing I want to add to every business owner out there is get Sue in there for an hour every month, because not only has she made me a lot of money, she saved me a ton of money. And we're talking real money. We're not talking 10,000, 20,000. We're talking in the millions. So, all these programs that they have been instrumental for me to stay profitable during COVID and to continue to stay profitable. And I thank you and your organization for helping me.
So thanks for the plug for our business assistance program. We really, really appreciate it. And we do invite business owners in the Santa Clarita Valley to reach out to us, and businesses outside the Santa Clarita Valley who might want to locate here, because that's really ultimately what we're about, is growing jobs in the Santa Clarita Valley with great companies like Star Nails. So Tony, thank you again for joining me today. And thanks everybody for listening and watching. We'll see you next time on SCV Means Business.